Hey guys, good to be here for this week's a little update on what we've been doing on the development side of things. So on the session side, we are making a lot of progress on user config. I literally just walked out of our office to film this in another little office. But we are, like, as I was walking out, it was our Android developer and desktop developer trying to work out why there's a kind of cross-platform issue. So each of the platforms works with each other. So when you update, say, your profile image on desktop, if you have a linked desktop device, then that updates all fine, and the syncing of red statuses is all working there. It's now to the point where we need to make sure that that update is working on Android, for example, or iOS as well. So they're doing cross-platform testing now. And we found a little issue yesterday, which stopped us from doing our internal release, which was essentially that we would have this condition where if one device updated a profile image, then the other device would update it, and then it would update it again. Basically, they get in this update loop. So we're currently working on that right now, and I think as I left, they said that they had a fix for that. So it's basically just getting these last fixes for user config before we can get it internally into the team, and then start testing more aggressively there, and then it'll be power users. So I'm hoping that probably tomorrow or the next day we'll be able to do that internal release inside of the team. Really good news on disappearing messages as well. I know on iOS it's looking like we're going to be able to finish disappearing messages within the next couple of weeks. Because most of the disappearing message work was done already, and we're basically just backporting in the new user config stuff into disappearing messages and using the new kind of approach to update different message types. So for example, when you change the disappearing message timer, we're going to be using the new user config message approach to sync that disappearing message timer to your other devices as well. So it's basically just getting all of those parts glued together. And that's moving really fast. And then push notifications is the other thing. The new push notification approach, which will be faster, more secure, more private, is coming along really nicely. We have an implementation in iOS now. There looks like there's a few issues server side which we need to resolve, and then we have half of an implementation in Android right now, which just needs a few other fixes. And for desktop, we don't really need to do too much because it doesn't have push notifications. So really close on that front too. So it's seeming like these three kind of major features are almost going to come out like within very quick succession of each other. So yeah, things looking really good on the session side. On the Oxen side, we've been bogged down a little bit. The auditors are requesting things from Ledger, and then Ledger is taking a long time to respond. So it's kind of like this chain of responsibility thing that we're dealing with. So it's kind of out of our hands right now. Sean, the main developer who's working on Oxen Core, has been dealing with financial audits and stuff over the last couple of weeks, so we haven't been able to get too much done on Oxen over the last couple of weeks. On LokiNet, we have essentially been continuing the focus on LibQuickyNet. Dan's making some really great progress there. He is at the point where he's about to start testing like node-to-node communications. We wanted to do that last week, but he basically found a few last issues with handshaking and making sure all of the agreements between different nodes were done properly. So that's now handled, and hopefully we'll be getting some data about how it performs localhost to localhost, and then also remote node to remote node, so we can understand how much we can saturate these tunnels that we can build between two nodes, and what the bandwidth and latency is realistically between these two nodes. So that'll be a huge leap. And then the LokiNet internals platform refactor is also continuing. We're also still looking at libLokiNet and trying to find any issues there. Tom's still investigating some of the reasons why packets may be out of order and trying to find the core kind of root cause of that. So yeah, I think that's just about it. But yeah, make sure you keep up to date with the written dev response, and I'm always in the channels as well if you want to ask for more information. Anyway, I'll chuck it over to Josh, and I'll talk to you next week. Ciao.
Hey everybody, I'm subbing in for Josh this week for the update. I'm coming to you from Chiang Mai University because I'm currently at the Digital Rights Asia Pacific Assembly here in Thailand. It's been a really awesome experience so far, but It did put a bit of a squeeze on us because we had the week where Kee and I were in Mexico, and then the week afterwards, obviously I'm here in Thailand at the moment. So there was a lot to do last week and a lot to get through. We took the opportunity to record an episode of the session tapes, which you guys can check out. It was about OpenAI and Sam Altman this week. We also released the latest episode of Privacy Expert Reacts. So Cam is now a certified privacy expert, so you can go and check out that video. And on top of that, at the moment, we're really looking into how we can best grow our YouTube. So if you've got any feedback about the kind of content that you're seeing, or you've got ideas about content that you think that we should be doing or making use of, then please reach out, because we've currently been doing some strategizing around that. So while I was in Mexico, I recorded a whole bunch of footage around the city. But being a privacy conference, there wasn't necessarily a lot of content that we could record or wanted to invade people's privacy at the conference. It just wasn't the done thing. So I know that a lot of you are eagerly anticipating the content that's going to be coming out of Narratopia. So at the moment, Wes is making sense of some of that footage, and there will be some content to come out of it. And as well as that, there are a bunch of ideas and things that I found out about and learned about while we were in Narratopia, which will definitely be inspiring some content in the upcoming future. But like I said, we had this squeeze and there were other priorities this week, so I didn't get around to it. But it will be coming, don't you worry about that. Obviously, I was also preparing for the upcoming event, so we're here at Drapac, and there are a lot of friends of ours and partners who were going to be here that we were really excited to meet with. So we're also doing 3 sessions while we're here, and so we're preparing for those. We've also been doing work on the influencer campaign, which you guys would have been hearing about quite a bit recently. So we want to be really upfront about how we do this. We want it to be transparent and no funny stuff. We've found a group of people that we think will work for Oxen and be appropriate for us. And so that's been signed off internally, and now we're going to start trying to build relationships with them ahead of the refresh, because we really want to line that push up with the refresh if possible. And last but not least, we've got the Wikipedia. So Session has got its own Wikipedia page after a lot of effort in order to make that happen. And at the moment, it's pretty bare bones. So Cam's been doing some work to try and expand on it, make it a bit more rigorous, because as I'm sure all of you know, Wikipedia is a first point of research for a lot of people when they're looking into new tech or new anything really. So we want to make sure that it's representing us well and that it has up-to-date and thorough information there. So that's pretty much everything for the marketing side of the update this week. Sweating bullets here in Thailand, but we'll see you next time.